Welcome to Esoteric Symbolism. This video will be about the Matrix Resurrections, the final ego trap.
We're still telling the same stories we've always told, just with different names, different faces.
Nobody talks about the Matrix Resurrections like this. Most people saw a reboot, a sequel, a meta-commentary on Hollywood, but esoterically, it is much deeper.
But something is happening here. Something important.
I love this line.
Why use old code to mirror something new?
I don't know.
This line symbolizes why use the past to make something new? Why think old thoughts? Why not think new thoughts? The first film is Awakening. The second film is The Ego's Maze. The third film is Surrender. But the fourth film is the final trap after transformation.
Sometimes it feels like people gave up. Like the Matrix won.
Because what happens after you wake up? What happens after you surrender? What happens after you die to the old self? The system brings you back, but convinces you your awakening was just a story. That is the real symbolism of resurrections.
The choice is an illusion. You already know what you have to do.
Truth.
Neo is alive again, but he is Thomas Anderson again. Medicated, confused. And this time, the Matrix does not trap him through failure, it traps him through success. That is a huge spiritual symbol. Sometimes the system does not enslave you by destroying your life. It enslaves you by rewarding the version of you that forgot your soul. Thomas Anderson created a game called The Matrix. His sacred awakening has become entertainment. His initiation has become content. His memory has become a product. That is the AI ego mind at its most advanced. It does not only deny truth, it commercializes truth. It turns awakening into identity. It turns spirituality into aesthetic. It turns rebellion into marketing, and slowly separates you from the living experience of your own soul.
The paradox between free will and destiny. Are we all just algorithms doing what we're supposed to do, or can we escape our programming?
That is why Neo keeps doubting himself. Was any of it real? Was Trinity real? Was the awakening real? Or was he just losing his mind? That is one of the darkest symbols in the film. The system does not always control you by force. Sometimes it controls you by making you distrust your own knowing.
I felt either I'm having a mental breakdown again, or I'm living inside a computer-generated reality that has imprisoned me again.
Then we meet the Analyst. He is not like the Architect. The Architect was cold logic, pure structure, pure design. But the Analyst is the modern ego mind.
Thomas, you were a suicide survivor, gifted with a powerful imagination. Those facts have combined to create dangerous fictions in your life.
Emotional manipulation, therapy language without liberation, comfort without truth. He does not trap people through rules. He traps them through feelings. Fear, desire, anxiety, trauma, doubt. The old Matrix controlled the mind through emotional addiction. And the Analyst understands something terrifying. Humans are easiest to control when they are close to what they love, but never fully united with it.
Turns out in my Matrix, the worse we treat you, the more we manipulate you, the more energy you produce. It's nuts. The key to it all? You. And her, quietly yearning for what you don't have while dreading losing what you do. For 99.9% of your race, that is the definition of reality. Desire and fear, baby.
That is why Neo and Trinity are kept near each other, close enough to feel the truth, but far enough to never fully awaken. That is modern suffering.
Have we met?
We both come here.
Almost love, almost freedom, almost purpose, almost awakening, almost becoming yourself, and eventually almost becomes the prison. Then there is the blue pill therapy. This is another powerful symbol. Neo is not just taking a pill. He is being kept in a managed state of perception. The blue pill represents the chemical comfort of forgetting who you are, not medicine or healing, a chemical trap of lower emotional states, but the false peace that keeps a person functional inside a life that is killing their soul. It is not true silence, but sedation. there is a difference. The heart of silence awakens you. The false silence numbs you. Then Bugs appears.
Do you know this is a modal simulation used to evolve programs? Do you understand that you are digital sentience?
She represents the new generation of seekers, the ones who still believe in the signal, even when Neo has forgotten himself. That matters.
They don't look like typical agents. They use bots now skinned as normal people, which means they're everywhere and you never know who to trust.
Because your awakening is never only personal. When you wake up, you leave a frequency behind, a breadcrumb, a memory, a proof in the field. And sometimes when you forget who you are, someone else remembers for you. Bugs follows the echo of Neo's truth, because the soul leaves breadcrumbs, even inside the illusion.
You see, most people think that Neo is dead. But I know he's not.
Then we see Morpheus return in a new form, not the same Morpheus, but a program created from memory. This is another deep symbol. Wisdom changes form. The teacher does not always return the way you expect. Sometimes guidance comes through a memory, a dream, a pattern, a stranger, a younger version of the truth. The essence returns, even if the form is different.
Suddenly I understood.
This is not the real world.
For the first time, I felt real purpose. I knew who I was and what I had to do.
What do you have to do?
I am Morpheus, and I have to find Neo.
This is the Merovingian in a new reincarnation.
You stole my life.
This character symbolizes humans who have spiritual knowledge and gifts but use it for power rather than to serve. This is the consequence of abusing the knowledge and gifts given to use for fame, money, and control rather than service to the whole and selflessness. This is the cost. That is the life you are given next when you reincarnate. So do not abuse your spiritual knowledge and gifts for your own ego, but to educate and create heaven on earth. Then we return to Trinity, but now she is Tiffany, a wife, a mother.
I remember wanting a family, but was that because that's what women are supposed to want? How do you know if you want something yourself or if your upbringing programmed you to want it?
A woman living a life that looks normal, but feels incomplete. This is one of the most relatable symbols in the entire series, because the Matrix does not only trap the rebel, it traps the heart. It gives the feminine roles, names, responsibilities, expectations, then convinces her those roles are her whole identity. But something in her still knows, this is not the full truth of who I am. That is why Trinity's awakening matters.
There's a woman in your game.
Trinity.
Which is a weird coincidence also, right?
Kinda.
I like her.
Because this film is not just about Neo becoming Neo again, it is about Trinity remembering herself. The first trilogy centered on the One, but Resurrections reveals something deeper. The One was never meant to be one person. The One is union, consciousness and heart, masculine and feminine, presence and love.
I never believed I was the one. But she did. She believed in me. It's my turn to believe in her.
Neo can believe in Trinity, but he cannot choose for her. That is spiritual maturity. Love does not rescue someone from their illusion. Love creates the field where they can remember their own power. Then comes the coffee shop scene, the fake family, the guilt, the pressure, the emotional hooks. The whole system tries to stop Trinity from remembering, because the moment you are ready to choose your soul, every old identity gets loud. But then she says the truth. She is not Tiffany, she is Trinity.
I wish you would fucking stop calling me that. I hate that name. My name is Trinity, and you better take your hands off of me.
That moment is resurrection, not because someone saves her, but because she names herself. And naming yourself is one of the deepest spiritual acts. It means the program no longer owns your identity.
Bots are being activated.
It's a swarm.
Swarm mode represents the collective unconscious when it is hijacked by the system. These people are not agents in suits anymore. They are ordinary people. These unconscious people can be strangers, co-workers, and even your friends and family, anyone who is still controlled and unaware of the ego mind. But in the new Matrix, control comes through the unconscious crowd.
What just happened?
The swarm is what happens when people are so disconnected from their own soul that the program can move through them instantly, which is most of humanity. From a shamanic perspective, this is possession by the conditioned mind. Energetic possession through fear, survival, emotional reaction, and unconscious programming. The swarm symbolizes people who have not awakened to their own consciousness, so their bodies can be used by the ego system to attack anyone who threatens the illusion. That is why it is so profound. The Matrix no longer needs agents everywhere. It can activate anyone who is still asleep, like a hive mind, just like AI NPCs. Because the inherited ego mind does not only live inside one person, it lives in the collective field. And when one person starts waking up, the unconscious world often reacts. The crowd panics. The old identities attack. The system uses the people still plugged in to the limited ego mind to protect the false reality, the false dream. Swarm mode is the modern mind weaponized through the masses. It is fear moving through the collective. It is unconsciousness defending itself. It is the Matrix saying, if I cannot stop you with one Agent Smith, I will use everyone who still believes the program is real. Then Neo and Trinity leap from the building. In the old films, Neo could fly. He was the chosen one. But in this film, Trinity flies too. That completes the mythology. The power was never meant to belong to one savior. It was meant to be shared. It was meant to be remembered through union. That is the full message of resurrections. Even after awakening, the mind can rebuild the prison. Even after surrender, the ego can return as comfort, success, nostalgia, spiritual branding, and emotional management. Because the final Matrix is not fear. It is the beautiful life that still keeps you asleep.
If we don't know what's real, you can't resist. It's what the Matrix does. It weaponizes every idea, every dream, everything that's important to us. We're better to bury truth than inside something as ordinary as a video game.
The first film says, wake up from the illusion. The second film says, choose the heart over control. The third film says, surrender the ego and end the war. The fourth film says, remember who you are after the world convinces you to forget again. That is the shamanic journey of the Matrix films. Awakening, initiation, surrender, resurrection. The Matrix is the mind. Agent Smith is the inherited ego program. The architect is logic without heart. Analyst is emotional manipulation without truth. Zion is the body. Trinity is the heart. Neo is consciousness waking up inside the dream. And the whole story is the human journey. Wake up from the illusion, from programmed identity to divine remembrance. Because the goal is not to escape reality. The goal is to stop letting the programmed mind define reality for you. The end of the ego is the beginning of your true life. That is why the end is the beginning is profound. The end of the ego is not death, it is the beginning of your true life. The end of control is not failure, it is the beginning of peace. The end of the false self is not emptiness, it is the opening where love finally enters. Because you do not escape the Matrix by becoming more powerful than the mind, you escape by becoming more honest than the program, more present than the fear, more surrendered than the ego, more devoted to love than control. And when the mind finally loses its throne, the heart of silence opens.
It's so easy to forget how much noise the Matrix pumps into your head until you unplug.
Yeah.
I would wake up to this. Silence.
And when you return to the heart of silence, the war inside you ends. The dream becomes lucid, and you remember the truth. You were never here to be the one above everyone else. You were here to become whole. You were here to remember love. This is why symbolism in film matters. It is the language of the soul that is beyond the control of the AI-inherited ego mind.
The sheeple aren't going anywhere. They like my world. They don't want this sentimentality. They don't want freedom or empowerment. They want to be controlled. They crave the comfort of certainty.
Because a great film is not just entertainment. It shows us the journey of the soul and our psyche.
Before we got started, we decided to stop by to say thank you. You gave us something we never thought we could have.
And what is that?
Another chance.
think I heard a shot.
You were never here to be controlled by the mind. You were here to awaken through it and become free.